So Tomi Lahren, to everybody's surprise, defended Joe Biden on Fox News. Take a look.
Make sure that we do not let federal solutions stand in the way of state solutions.
Look, there is no federal solution. This gets solved at a state level, and it ultimately gets down to where the rubber meets the road.
President Biden agreeing with Republican governors that there are no federal solutions to the pandemic, despite his administration's push for more mandates.
Tomi Lahren, Fox Nation host, joins us right now. And Tomi, this is so confusing because it seems to be that all President Biden has are federal responses. The federal vaccine mandates for large employers, the mask mandates. Is he confused? Is it hypocritical? I don't. What's going on there?
This might have been a classic case of a Freudian slip where he admitted that there really is no federal solution, that he really has no plan to tackle COVID. And this comes after several tweets that have now been uncovered from not too long ago where he was going after Donald Trump at the start of the pandemic for not having a solution to COVID. But there is a rare instance here where I agree with President Joe Biden. There isn't a federal solution to COVID. Everyone has to be safe. They have to be responsible. They have to wash their hands, stay home if they're sick. If they can get their hands on a test, which is difficult right now, then they should do that. But there isn't going to be some big federal solution that's going to solve COVID. It's been nearly 2 years now. I think we can all admit that. We're going to have to learn to live with COVID and cope with it the best that we can.
So there, Tomi Lahren is agreeing with Biden, to my surprise. And you do have, I saw, on my Twitter feed, lefties were going after Biden for this because what Biden is saying is fundamentally a conservative idea. Like, hey, it's out of the federal government's hands. We're not going to do much. Leave it up to the states. They can decide what to do. So let's go through this. In one sense, Biden is correct, but there's a big thing that he's missing where he's wrong. So when it comes to, I think what Biden means is we're not going to do another lockdown. We're not going to do a federal. We never really did a hard lockdown in this country, but what he's saying is we're not going to do a hard lockdown. We're not going to do a soft lockdown. We're not going to do it on a boat. We're not going to do it with a goat. That sounded weirdly sexual, but you get the point. He's saying no more lockdowns. We're not going to federally, we're not going to do it. If the individual states wants to do it, okay, that's their prerogative, but we're not going to do it at the federal level. Okay. And I think also what he's saying is I'm not going to do a hard mandate for a vaccine. In other words, I'm not going to go further than I've already gone with the vaccine. Now, the rule for OSHA is businesses with 100 employees or more, you either have to get vaccinated or test. My policy would be a touch stronger than his. I would do vaccine or test for all businesses, public and private. But so he's saying I'm not going to go any further than that. Now, on those fronts, I'm more or less in agreement with him. I don't want a national lockdown. Even at the state level, I don't want them to try to lock stuff down. That creates so many problems, and also clearly it's not all that effective at stopping the spread of the virus. It definitely slows it down, but having a vaccine or test policy for the entire country, I think, is basically the best path, which both protects the community and the collective as much as possible while also maintaining individual rights. So that's the path that I'm most comfortable with, but I don't want lockdowns. Now, having said that, here's what Biden misses, and here's where he's wrong. He's like, oh, the federal government, this isn't a federal thing. What can the federal government do? Well, there's a lot they could do. So for one thing, he should use the Defense Production Act to bulk up hospital infrastructure. Like, you need to build more hospitals. You need to improve on the hospitals that are already there, and needed to get to work on that, day one when you were in office. That's one thing that could have been done and should have been done and should have happened under Trump as well. Another thing you could do is use the Defense Production Act to have more COVID supplies and treatments and medicine. So I was reading an article the other day, the monoclonal antibodies, which is one of the things that Trump was given when he got COVID, one of the things that Joe Rogan took when he had COVID. The monoclonal antibodies, only one of the 3 different types appears to work against Omicron, and that one is in short supply. And so use the Defense Production Act, bulk up production of that thing and get it out there as much as possible. There's a shortage of it. The federal government can definitely get involved in that and it should do it. Now, that's what I think. Another thing Biden could do is sign an executive order that makes all COVID treatment free. That's a federal solution. And who would complain about tax money going towards that? Yeah, I mean, shit, all the stuff we spend tax money on now, the endless wars, the Wall Street bailouts, nobody wants that stuff. What we do want is, for the love of God, if somebody's sick, let them get help and pay for it with tax funds. Of course, go, go, go. So he could sign an executive order today under, currently existing legislation that would allow him to do that, but he's not doing that. So free tests. Now, granted, the administration did effectively come out and reverse course recently and say, we are going to do free tests. You got to go online and request it, but they'll mail you free tests, basically. That's a good policy. But look, these are the things you could do. Defense Production Act, bulk up hospital capacity, build new hospitals, do it as fast as possible. Defense Production Act for monoclonal antibodies, sign an executive order, all COVID treatment is free. This is stuff that you can do, and this is stuff that would be appreciated, and this is stuff that would make his approval rating go up. But he's not even going to do that. So I think in the context of what he was saying, he meant I'm not going to do a lockdown, and I'm not going to do a hard vaccine mandate, which, okay, fair enough. But there are things he can do that he's not doing, which is really unacceptable. So Tomi Lahren is actually, ironically, more with Joe Biden on this than Kyle Kulinski is. Because when he was running for office, by the way, he did, at the very least, imply certain things here. Like, he did imply, like, look, all COVID treatment should be free. Well, now he's not lifting a finger on that front. So, I mean, look, all healthcare should be free, period. But at the very least, you could do all healthcare for the pandemic virus during the pandemic. But he's not. So it is sort of a cop-out from Biden. And he was a lot more, hawkish on this virus, and we're going to defeat it when he was running. And now he's in office. He's sort of resigned to it ripping through the country, which is not a good look, man, to say the least.